Musings podcast. I'm your host, Gungo Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me on another Wednesday for another amazing episode. So, my phone is getting old. If people can do Amchango for me, I will really appreciate it. I know I keep saying this, and people might think I'm joking. I'm not joking, y'all. I said this before. If you have an old phone that still works, that is still at least good enough to work, throw it my way, man. If you can just afford a phone as a gift, like I know we're past my birthday, but honestly, I will not say no to one right now because I need a new phone or just a phone that works. So my phone, Gmail had some updates. So now, I cannot access I can access them. I can access my emails through my phone, but I don't know because of whatever they're doing right now. I cannot send emails using my phone. Like there's an update that came and my phone is way old. So there's some things that cannot happen using my phone. Not just that. So whenever I record these things, I record them on my phone and then I send them to my laptop using like a code, like a USB code, right? So the USB code that I use for charging this phone is a type C one. And that one, when I connect it from this phone to my laptop, my laptop tells me that it does not recognize the whatever that has been added, right? Now, the one that I used to use from before, it used to be like my charger for my previous phone. It's old and it has its own issues, but I've been using that to transfer files from this phone to my laptop. Last week's episodes, there was a struggle to do so because I connect them and it only connects for 2 seconds, at most 5 seconds. And these 5 seconds, by the time you go upload, blah, 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 and then for it transfer, it has already disconnected. That was the problem I had with last week's episodes. And then came the transferring of photos because I usually do a screenshot of the pictures that I put up on Wednesday's shows. And then I crop them and then again transfer them using the same formula. But this time they couldn't. I had to put them up using my phone as what is it called? Like upload them on my email, like send them via email. So using my phone, I put them as attachments on my email, right? And then I left. So they were in the draft files in my email. Then I went to my laptop because they already as drafts there. Now I sent them and then downloaded them, and that's how I got them on my lappy. So because now I can just transfer. And those are photos. Photos will be easier. No, I do not know if it will work the same way, like transferring these audios that I'm recording. So if we get to a point and you find that there's no episode for either Wednesday or Saturday, just understand these are the problems that I'm going through and I do not know what to do. So the code is old. The sort of new one is not the one for this phone, and it's this Chinese one, so of course it has its issues. And I can't just go to knock on a neighbor's door every week and be like, hey, help me with your code, I need to transfer something and I'll return it in a few minutes. So I don't know. It's like the universe is telling me to quit this YouTube thing, and I just might. As I always say, it's easier quitting than running with this, trying this, and always having problems here and there. Like it's just hard. But yeah, that has been the struggle I've been going through. It's just not the editing and nini and Wi-Fi. Now it's also like transferring these things from my phone to my laptop. I don't know how I'll be doing it. I'll continue trying that draft thing and then forwarding to my laptop. But you understand that is now needing Wi-Fi double or bundles double, because usually the editing part from like audio to to MP4 so that I can be able to put it on CapCut, it does not require Wi-Fi. Even CapCut, I've come to learn that I don't need Wi-Fi while editing in CapCut. The only time I need Wi-Fi is when I'm uploading to YouTube, which had eased my mind. But now with these new issues, I need Wi-Fi or at least bundles and to transfer them to my laptop, and then I edit without the Wi-Fi or bundles, and then require bundles and Wi-Fi again when I'm uploading them to YouTube. So it's getting more expensive for me and I'm getting nothing from it. So that's where my mind is at. Anyway, just a little story before I start. But I'll go straight to it because I don't want to again to stay here forever. On today's episode, I'm going to be giving a review of the Kenyan movie Boda Love. Like Boda. That's how I'm supposed to say it. Boda. Boda Love. Like Boda Boda. So, Boda Love is a 2024 Kenyan film written by Grace Irungu and Janet Wells. It's directed by Janet Wells. I watch it on YouTube and there it's brought to us by Tidpix. So make sure to go and watch it there. The cast members include Murunyu Duncan, he plays Jabari, Greer Dale Fox, she plays Charlotte, Justin Mirichi plays Brayo, Mudhoni Gadecha plays Grandma, Kiran Ratanya plays Makori, Wanjiru Marima plays Maisha, Timothy Washira plays Willie, Mehul Savani plays Kamal, Keith Chuaga plays the officer Mungai, Tom Lincoln plays Arthur, that's the conman, Cloud Zatara plays Rodizio, amongst other cast members. Now, if you love spoilers like me, I'd urge you to leave, go to YouTube, search Boda Love, and you're going to find the movie. Watch it, then come back here and tell me if you agree with me or not, because this is official spoiler alert. Now, Boda Love is about these two people, that's Jabari and Charlotte, but especially Charlotte. So we start with Jabari, he's doing his Boda duties, moving from one place to the other, blah, blah, blah. Kawaida Boda work. And then he's at the Shimo, the stand where they usually park. And Charlotte alights from, I think, a taxi. And she's out of the car and she's asking the guy in the car, like, are you sure this is the place? And he goes like, yeah, the church is right there. So she goes like, okay. So he comes out, helps her with the bags. And outside that place, she's on her phone. And these guys are looking at her. That is Jabari and Makori. Makori is also a Boda driver. So they're also there and they're looking at her. These two men come from the side. And Jabari and Makori go like, oh my God. Actually, Jabari says like she should put her phone away. But these guys come pretend, trying to assist her. They take her purse and they take her phone and then they take her suitcases and they run with them. I'm like, hata kama ni wezi, suitcases, mnakimbia nazo mnaenda nazo wapi? They just have clothes. But anyway, people carry a lot of things in their suitcases. So yeah, you can find like, very expensive things from there. So Charlotte is a British national. So she's white. And she met this guy online. That is the main story of it. She met this guy online. That is Arthur. And they started, talking, blah, blah, blah. She came to Kenya. He proposed to her. Then she went back. Her mom had died. So she sold off her mom's house and everything and sent Arthur the money to buy a house in Kenya where they could come and live. They talked about things and stuff, how to decorate the house and everything. And now she had come because they were supposed to be getting married. She even had her wedding gown in that suitcase. So it has been stolen and of course it was expensive. So Jabari, seeing that these men are running away with her bag, she starts running after them. But then she was very courageous. I wondered where she got that strength because two men running away with your things. I'm not following them in a country I do not know. I'm letting them go. Find a way to go to the embassy, find another passport and see how you're going to help yourself, my dear. Because what do you mean you're running after gangsters? So she runs after them and Jabari follows her and them using her Boda. And so they go up to this place, they throw the bags on the other side, they run. And then Jabari comes and tells her, like, just let them go. You won't find them. And she turns on him, like, goes, are you together with them? He goes like, what? Seriously? So she apologizes and yeah, she tells him to take her to the police station. So they go to the police station and while they're there, he refuses to go in with her. There she meets Officer Mungai, who like is typical Kenyan police. The way he was talking, the way you explain things to him and the way he just goes like, yeah, nonchalant. And then she sits there, other people come in and go, come in and go. She's just sitting waiting. I don't know what she was waiting for, Aki. And then eventually she was given her OB number. Of course, Jabari had left and gone to continue working and stuff. So later on, after she was given the OB number, that's at night now, she's told, okay, go and don't lose your OB number. So I'm like, where is she supposed to go? It's at night. in a foreign country with no money. What is she supposed to do? So she stands outside the police station and she's just like cold because she had on a sleeveless dress, and she's just standing there wondering what to do. And then Jabari comes along because he had just dropped some lady at this place. She's the lady of the night. So yeah, he had just dropped her at her home. While he's going back home, he sees her and she talks to him, and she asks like, if she can go home with him because she needed a place to stay, a place to sleep. Because at this moment, she still thinks that Arthur is a good guy and she still wants to locate him eventually. So he tries to say no, but eventually he says this because she's alone, without money, without anything, even her passport, she has nothing. So he takes her to their home. So this home, Kumbe, he shares it with I think Brian was the brother, older brother or something. But the way he was talking about it, was like he was the older brother, and the other two, he had twin siblings, a brother and a sister. And Brian was just like either an uncle or a cousin or a brother, I don't know, because he was just living his life. And he looked older than Jabari, meaning instead of Jabari being the one to help out, make money for the family, Brian should have been the one to do it, but he wasn't. Anyway, he takes her home, and there is grandma, the twins, and he's like, please assist her and stuff like that. In this family, they bored me at this moment because one, she's a visitor, a foreigner in your home. I get it. But then the grandma starts saying that, oh, maybe she's coming to steal from us. And the sister is behaving like very, very terribly towards her. And the brother is also like, who is she? What is a white person doing here? I get it. Because if the roles were reversed, if it was a black person being brought into a white person's home, they would have behaved sort of similar. But then it just was so unwelcoming. And I don't think that's how African homes are. So I don't know. That part had me, it gave me an ick with that family. Kwanzia the grandma. And the grandma, after watching her in Rafiki, I used to like her, but since I watched on Rafiki, even in this one, I was just like, ugh, I didn't really like her. But then it's acting, so we have that. But then they come, he just begs them to let her stay, and they accept, but of course they're behaving weirdly. She asked to use the loo, and she's taken to the loo. And these guys, again, as I said, they gave me an ick. They all go outside the door of the toilet. Tell me who does that. Even if you're suspecting that person is going to steal from you, what is she stealing from? What is she stealing in the toilet? Like, it was such a crazy thing that they did. It was so disgusting. I was like, people do not behave like this. I do not think people behave like this in Africa, in Kenya. Like, people do not behave like that. You can't tell me you're going to go outside the toilet and to listen to what that person is doing. All of them, the grandma, the brother, the sister, all of them with their ears on the door. And Jabari is just watching them because he's like, what are you guys doing? But still, even the grandma, honestly, mnaskiza. Anyway, she leaves the toilet and finds them there. And it was just a weird thing. She spends the night, and then the next day, she wakes up still in her dress. Like, it was just crazy. And she's like, she wants to plan now how to get Arthur, to get to Arthur. She remembers the hotel where she was proposed at. Brian is now back, and she tells him that she needs to go there. So when Jabari comes during his break, because he's a Boda rider, when he comes home, she tells him like, yo, I need to go back to that restaurant where I was proposed at. I think it was called Rodizio, just like the owner. It's a Brazilian restaurant. So he goes like, okay. He goes and buys like tumba suit or something. And when the time comes for them to go, Brian steals a dress from the wireline from the neighbor's house and gives it to her. She does not even ask where she got it from. Although the grandma, there's a look that she exchanged with Brian that was suspicious. We didn't know what was happening until Jabari comes to take her, and she's getting on the boda when the neighbor starts yelling like, Mwizi, Mwizi, like thief, thief. What? Any brand went to the wild and stole another person's dress to come and give it to her so she could have a change of dress. Anyway, they go to the restaurant. Jabari was thinking that they were going on a date. I was like, yo, why would you think that she was going to go on a date with you? She was in Kenya to get married. And you think just because her things have been stolen, she spent one night in your home, that she was going to go on a date with you? And actually, she said something in terms of that after they went to the restaurant, and he was like, so you mean you came here looking for your ex, for Arthur? I'm like, yeah. She was like, why would you think I would drag you to such a place? Like, exactly. So anyway, she insists on seeing Rodizio, and the waiter comes and serves them, and she's just like, yeah, yeah, eat, eat. I know the owner of the restaurant. He is friends with Arthur. They go a long way. He's going to help us. You just eat. And all that time I was screaming like, do not eat anything. Jabari, do not eat anything. Mtachonga viazi nani? Mtachonga waru, because what do you mean? Hey. And she even orders champagne and stuff. The waiter was such a nice guy. Though he kept touching Jabari's shoulders, I was like, yeah, waiters do not behave like that. That's weird. And he even bought him chapo chini ya maji. And I was like, yeah, because Mans was starving. Like, the food, expensive, but the quantity of it, he was not full. So anyway, Rodizio finally comes, and he pretends like he does not remember her, he does not know her and everything. She's upset, of course, and she starts arguing, and he's taken out of the restaurant. He prevents Nani from leaving the restaurant, Jabari. So he asks for a minute, goes to the bathroom, calls somebody. I think he called Makori to send him some money to pay for the bill. Which I'm like, that's crazy, because that money was supposed to be part of their rent. Anyway, they go back, and he takes her to the Nairobi University Towers, which is something I'm sure they were advertising for them, because they were up there and they went to the helipad and they lay down observing the stars and stuff. And I was like, yes, if anybody can just go there, maybe they are paying for it. I don't know. But that was, I think, when it was still new. I don't know. When was the Nairobi University Towers built? I don't know. Because this is a 2024 movie, and I didn't hear about it until this year, because they were on the list of winning something, African something. There were some awards they were nominated for. And I was like, now. So when I was doing the research for this, I was like, it's a 2024 movie. I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know. But yeah, so anyway, they do that, and then if they eventually go back home, the neighbor was waiting for them outside, dozing off, but outside waiting, because she has to tell them to return the dress. So she comes back and she's given the dress back after embarrassing her kidogo. But anyway, they go back to the house, and Jabari is like, go to the room, you'll sleep with the sister. That is Maisha. Maisha kicks her off the bed, and she falls down on the floor. But even the way she was getting on the bed, it was just a weird thing. Like, they were treating her so badly. I was like, is this how you help someone? If you don't want to help her, like, just tell her no. Ask her to leave, it's okay. But don't let her stay and talk like in Swahili about her, and she can't even understand you, and you keep demeaning her and being all weird. Because if the roles were reversed again, I said, like, that one person would have been called racist. But this one's the way they were behaving, I would call them racist too, because of everything they were saying and everything they were doing. It was just all wrong. I didn't like it, like, at all. As somebody who has had bosses who used to speak their mother tongue while I'm there, and I know, like, one of them is talking badly about me, yo, I understood it's not a good thing. Anyway, the next day, so she comes back to the living room where Jabari is eating his chapos, because, like, what was he supposed to do? So they talk and they start sharing and talking about their dreams, blah, blah, blah. He was almost engaged to a lady called Anita before, because he had a scholarship to go to uni, but then the grandma got sick, and Jabari had to drop out to look for money to help the siblings, and also his grandma, and also pay rent and stuff like that. So they talk about all of those things. She asks about Anita and everything that happened there, blah, 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 blah. Fast forward, she finds the will to go to Arthur's home. She remembers that she has a photo, and because they'd go to the cyber to check, like, for Arthur if he's still on the dating app, blah, 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 they find that this man has blocked all her socials, like Facebook, everything. Apparently, she had given him her passwords, and he had also done the same. But now she is logged off of them, and she's locked out. She can't access them. So, but she remembers that she has a photo of the house in Kenya. And so they look for it and they find it and they go there to surprise Arthur. When they get there, Arthur looks at them. He remembers her. He talks to her and is like, yeah, I'm sorry, but we're not getting married and blah, 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 blah. You know, like a con artist. He even laughs at her face. And it was just so bad. So she steals the doormat and she runs off. And those two goons who had stolen from her when she arrived, they were sent by Arthur because he knew she was coming that day. He had told her where to alight. So he sent those thugs to meet her there. And if it wasn't for Jabari, then like imagine doing that to a human being. Stealing all of her money, using the money she sent to you to buy a home for yourself, and then also organizing for thieves to come and steal from her. Why not just leave her stranded with her passport and everything? But anyway, she does that and they run and they go off. She goes back to the police officers. The police officers are just like, yeah, I'll give you another OB number. And she leaves. So, but now this time they started getting closer. So he doesn't take her home straight away. He takes her to a club because she just wanted to scream. She wanted to lose herself. They go to a club, they drink, they take shots or whatever it was. They play a little pool with Makori and some other friends, and then they leave, they go back. Oh, they start dancing because she was jealous of this other lady. You remember the lady of the night? Yeah, she was jealous of her, and they start dancing, they start kissing on the dance floor, and then they later go back home, still laughing, eating chipomutu and stuff. When they open the door, they get into the house. Everybody in the family, they're still sitting in the sitting room, waiting for them. I'm like, why? So anyway, the bedroom, because Brian this time is around, so she can sleep in Brian's bed. They take a mattress and put it on the floor and they spend the night there. And I'm like, okay, because they do the hanky panky. Or was that a different time? Anyway, I don't remember if this when they do it or it was a different time, but yeah, they do the hanky panky on the floor. Like Brian is sleeping on a double decker. Brian and Willie. Willie is sleeping on the decker, the top decker. Brian is sleeping on the bottom decker. There's a curtain there, and then there are two chairs separating that bed and the floor that these people are sleeping on, and they're doing the hanky panky. I'm like, the confidence they have, because I will not. I will not be able to do that with their grandma in the next room without a door, because there was a curtain there. I do not remember a door. It was a curtain. Like, which African home, which Kenyan home does this? Because I could never, like, I imagined being in my grandmother's house in the village, and my grandmother is sleeping in the room, like right next to the living room, and it's separated by a curtain. So grandma and sister in that room, and then my brothers on this other side on a double decker, and I'm on the floor with a man doing the hanky panky. What African home allows that? What Kenyan home would allow that? Because kwetu kwanza, I think it would be a curse. Ni laana. Like, my grandmother would never forgive me for something like that. Because where? I was like, okay. So anyway, they do that. The next day, they wake up. She wakes up and she makes them sausages. And when she brings them to the living room, because Jabari had already left, grandma goes like, we only eat sausages on Sundays in this house. But she says it in Swahili. They were mostly speaking in Swahili around her. So, and talking about her. So this time she starts speaking broken Swahili to them, because she goes like, I'm sorry that I climbed into bed the other night. Oh, that time was before. I think that was before. She told them, I'm sorry I climbed into bed with you and disturbed you. I'm sorry that I'm making sausages. I'm sorry that, like, she said it in Swahili, broken, yes, but at least some, meaning she could understand them. And they're like, oh, so you speak Swahili? She was like, yeah, I was coming to live here. You think I would come all the way without having, like, studied a little bit of Kenya? Like, I had to learn something about the country before I came here. And so from then, they start behaving nicely, because she left. And Oh, I think I've mixed it up. I've mixed the story and the timeline up, but anyway, you're getting the gist of the story. So anyway, eventually she plans to confront Arthur, although Jabari was against it. But the brat Brian and the younger brother, they help her out, and even the sister, they go and meet back at Rodizio, and she's trying to get him to admit that she stole from him or something. Jabari comes back home, discovers that everybody's away from home, goes to this guy, Kamal. He's an Indian guy. I think he used to be with the grandma. They were in love or something, and he still likes her, but she's keeping a distance because she was sick. By the way, I forgot to say that grandma was sickly, and so he goes to his home, to Kamal's house, asks him if he knows where the family is. He doesn't know. And then he goes looking for them. He finds them at Rodizio, and he gets into an argument with Charlotte because, he came and ruined the plan they had. Anyway, they go back home, they quarrel a little bit, but then everything is sorted. And then he plans with Charlotte, and they go and use that lady of the night. They go to Arthur's home, and the lady of the night, I don't remember her name, she goes and she starts talking to the askari at the gate to distract him. And then Jabari and Charlotte, they go into the house, and they find the room, like his room where he's kept the passports and everything that he has stolen from other women. It wasn't just Charlotte, it was other women as well, and that is what she was fighting for, especially because it wasn't just her, it was other women who are getting conned even at that moment. So he comes back home, Arthur, and they hide underneath his bed. He takes a nap. Later on, he gets a phone call. He leaves. They leave, and then they get her passport, her pass. They steal some money for grandma to be taken to the hospital, and they take the passport. Some other passports take to the police. So they go back to Officer Mungai. They give him the passport, and they're like, "Where did you get these ones?" And they lie that he's the one who gave it to them. Jabari, tells him a story like, if you put this man behind bars, you might get a promotion, blah, blah, blah. He does that. They go, they arrest him, and Arthur is off the table. Okay. So he's arrested and stuff. And all those goons of his, the two goons that he had, they are arrested. So I don't know why these people are quarreling, because the money Jabari had gotten from Arthur's house, they were like, she's supposed to go to the hospital. But I think the disease that grandma had was, like nothing could have been done. And she knew that, and she was just waiting for her end. And she had a conversation with Charlotte because, as I said, her mom had died, and they had gone to the doctors, and her life had been extended, but then she was in pain until she died. And she had a conversation like that with grandma. And so grandma was like, with the money, she was like, no, use that money for my funeral, because yeah, I'm ready to die. And so Jabari turns to Charlotte and goes like, did you do this? Are you the one who spoke to her about this? And she sort of agrees, and I'm like, why didn't that conversation happen where she convinced grandma like it's better to die? Because I remember what she said, because before she had taken grandma to the hospital and done some stupid thing. She watched it to know what I'm talking about, and they'd had that conversation later on. But I don't remember her telling grandma like, you should just die. But anyway, Jabari was very upset. So she goes to the cyber to buy a ticket back home, and she's there with Brian because Brian was looking for a woman from the States, and he had actually gotten one from Texas, and they were planning on him going there, but she wanted him to get a job first in Kenya, blah, blah, blah. She was an older woman, actually. So anyway, so they do that, and she wants to leave, but everybody knows that they're in love. That is Jabari and Charlotte, but Jabari is just upset with her. So anyway, the next day, I don't know what happens, and grandma is in the hospital. I don't know, I've forgotten that, but she's in the hospital, and all of them are there, but apart from Jabari. So she's dying apparently, and they are calling him, they're texting him, he's not coming, until eventually does, because they think they call Makori to look for him. They do that. He comes, finally goes into the room, talks to grandma. She gives him some advice, like to not forget about himself and live like, Brian does, like not do everything that Brian does, but at least to, you know, try and live instead of just living for other people and making sure that everybody around him is happy and neglecting himself. Anyway, grandma dies, he comes back outside, tells everybody else, they cry, go back home. I don't they didn't show us the funeral, but it was like at home. Kamal is there, Brian, Willie, Maisha, and she's there telling them goodbye. Jabari is also there, and she's like, okay, I have to leave now unless there's a reason for me to stay. And Jabari goes like, yeah, none. And everybody was looking at him because I was like, what? I cried at that moment because this movie is a nice movie. It was emotional, and I didn't even know that it was going to catch me like that. I'll just give a disclaimer. I usually cry over nothing. I'll tell you that for free. I have like I cry a lot. I cry very easily. I'm very in touch with my emotions. So, but this one, it took me by surprise because it was a good movie. I was enjoying it, but I didn't think that I was going to cry that moment. Because, like, no, at the back of my mind, I was screaming, like, you slept with her and now you're breaking up with her. Like, what's up with that? Like, it's so unfair after everything she has gone through. But yo, anyway, so she leaves, she says goodbye, and she leaves. She goes into an Uber or whatever. There's this lady who kept honking at Makori. So she drives an Uber while Makori and Jabari ride motorbikes. So anyway, she goes, get into the car and leaves. On her way, she remembers, she's crying, she's emotional, and she remembers that she has forgotten her wedding gown. So they turn around. Everybody is looking at Jabari like, what the hell are you doing? Why did you let her go? And they tell him as much. So he's like, oh, okay, fine. Shit. And then he gets into his motorbike. The brother and sister, they follow him. They go together to try and get to her. But then the motorbike breaks down because it does not have fuel or gas or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so these others are on their way back. He calls Makori to come with his motorbike to help them out. And just as Makori arrives, he sees the car. And he goes like, that's your lady. She's the one who's going back. And so they start following her. There's traffic. They get to her. And he stops the car. I mean, the car, and he tells her that he loves her, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. So yeah, they kiss out there like this is Kenya, people just kissing out in traffic. I'm like, I know it's a rom-com or whatever, but yo, some things you have to make sure that they happen in Kenya. But anyway, I'm sure it does. I'm sure people kiss on the street somewhere. But anyway, so they do. And then it's a year later and she's pregnant and they're still in the same house. And so the officer Mungai, knocks the door. Brian opens and they come in, and he goes like, okay, so I thanks to you, I got a promotion at work, and there was a reward for the person who helped, helped me get those people. And he goes like, okay, so what's the reward? And he goes like, okay, I'll show you. So they go to that house, Arthur's house, that is actually in reality it's Charlotte's house because she's the one who had bought it. So they move in there and it's a big house with a pool and everything. And so the movie ends with Brian showing his mamas from the States the house that they're living in now, and the swimming pool, and the car that is learning how to drive in, and it belongs to that other lady, remember, like Makori's lady, and all of that. And so it ends with some good music and stuff. So yeah, that is Boda Love. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did. It's one of a few movies I found interesting from Kenya because I had seen a review of it. Somebody had said it's not a romantic movie, but I didn't watch it. So I don't know why that person had said that it's not a romantic movie because it is romantic. I'll say a bit of it is very toxic because, or not even toxic. How can I explain this? Like, you were coming to be married to somebody. She was in love with Arthur. And in the short time that she was staying at Jabari's house, she was already in love with him. Like, I think it was less than a month or at most like 2 months or something. It wasn't that long since she arrived and she fell in love with Jabari. And they gave themselves to each other. And I was like, no. Because you were in love with the other person. How did you just fall out of love with him immediately and fall in love with Jabari in a space of a month or 2 months or however long that was? Because it wasn't more than 2 months, I'm sure. So that I felt like that was rushed, because I get it's a movie and I get that is the logic in a movie, but I don't think that will happen in real life. I don't know how to explain it, but that one, it weirded me out a little bit. And also I was like, I think she just had gratitude, and maybe she was confusing gratitude for love. But anyway, they made it to a year and she was pregnant. So maybe it wasn't just gratitude, it was really love. But I looked at that and I was like, I wouldn't just be okay with being in love. Like, go back to Britain, be there, talk, communicate, and maybe come back later, or stay, but find a place of your own and live your own life, and maybe start dating, and maybe after some time. Because we just fell out of love with Arthur because he was a con man. I get it, because I'm a Taurus, and yeah, when I cancel people out, I do it like that, like just a snap, and I'm totally blocking out of my mind and everything. So maybe she was also one of those ones. So I don't know, but yeah, that made me feel like, but yeah, it was fine. It was fine. But yeah, so it was a good movie. I loved it. Go and watch it on YouTube. Again, remember it's Tidpics. That's when you can find it, or just Google Boda Love and you'll find the movie. It was funny a little bit. It was good. It was emotional. I felt sad when grandma died, even though I was like, yeah, Tabia Mulifanya, you cannot go outside the toilet to listen to the visitor. Like, whatever she's doing, pooping, peeing, you do not do that. That's just bad manners. And it shows how uncultured you are. Because who does that? Who does that? Who does that? They had really good music. They showed that part of Nairobi. They showed a little bit of town at night. I love that. And yeah, it was a simple movie, but entertaining nonetheless, and it was good. I saw somebody in the comments saying that that's a movie that should be on Netflix. I don't know why it's not, because yeah, it should be on a platform like as big as Showmax or Netflix, but also YouTube is fine. But you see now YouTube, you're sort of getting it for free, even though there are ads, but on those other platforms, the producers or the whatever, they could have gotten some good money from it. So, and I saw a lot of people from other countries commenting and also acknowledging it and saying it's a good movie from Kenya and stuff. There was some Swahili, there was English, of course, and yeah, I loved it. And I love that other people watching it loved it too. So I'd urge you to go and watch it as well. Just know that it's amazing. It's a good movie. And the acting was on point. Jabari and Charlotte's chemistry was on point. Makori and the Uber driver, their chemistry was also good. I hated the way Arthur looked. Like, he looked like a gangster. He just looked like a con artist. I'm sorry, but he just did. I was grateful that it wasn't a black man who had conned her. It was a white person who had conned her, because yeah, that would have been a bit on the nose, yeah. So I loved everything about it. So make sure to go and watch it, and of course come back and tell me if you agree with what I've said about the movie or if you do not. But I loved it. I'll give it probably a 7 out of 10, because it was a good movie. Like, it was well written. Grace Irungu did a good job, and Janet, well, they did a good job. But the casting, I have an issue with the casting, but I'll not talk about that today, because I want to watch some other movies from Tidpics. I think I spoke about that page on YouTube a while back, and I told you that they have some Kenyan movies. I want to watch other Kenyan movies on there, and then I'll look at the casting again, just to see there's something there, and I do not like it. So, but I'll talk about it in another episode. So yeah, I leave it at that. Go and watch it. Hope you enjoy it as I did. Yeah, remember that I'm still baking, so hit me up if you want me to bake for you. Remember that I'm doing meal preps and cooking. If you're interested, I can do that for you as well. Follow me on Instagram and on TikTok, Mimi's Musings Podcast. Come back here. Remember to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, so that whenever I upload something new, you're going to be among the first people to come and watch. Okay? Bye-bye now.